Shabbat Shalom!
Shabbat Shalom!
It's all on me today. Paul asked me to do this message. He's heard bits and pieces of it. And I'm just going to say right now I am nervous. So I apologize if I'm a little jittery. This message means a lot to me. There's hours and hours and hours and hours of study that I've done to put this together. And just before we begin, I want to kind of do a disclaimer, I guess. I don't claim to know the mind of Yah. We can only get from the word he gives us and taking it back to the Hebrew and breaking it down and getting from that what he provides for us in the word, okay? So from what he gives us and from the amazing words he uses in the word, when you take it back to the Hebrew and you break it down, it just paints a picture that I think the church has done a real injustice to women. And let me just start out by saying this message is called Building the Woman. And I want it to be revealed. I want the veil to be pulled back on. And if I cry, I'm sorry, because this is it just means so much to me as a woman, and having 2 daughters as well. So, but he just peels back the layers. We're peeling back the layers, and we're revealing what it is that he said we are. We're Ezer, Kenegdo. And so when I first heard that word, it was 3 or 4 years ago, and I thought, that I was privy to something maybe that nobody else was. I put a little women's Bible study together, and we had learned about the Ezer. And it was very basic compared to where God took me. Recently, I had to put this together for another program, and I started digging deeper. And what he revealed in his word is so amazing. His creation is so beautiful. The thing that he puts inside of the men and the women, it's unfortunate that it hasn't been taught yet, or it is being taught. Actually, now I've seen, and a friend of mine said, there's other teachings out there, and there are. If you just Google the word Ezer, E-Z-E-R, or Kenegdo, you'll find quite a few, actually. I found a couple that I thought were really good. But this is my take on it. This is what Yah showed me through Bible apps and concordances and the Strongs and the Bible, the word itself. So what is an Ezer? What is an Ezer Kenegdo? So we're going to define the character first of the woman. And we're going to go back to the garden, okay? Because this is where he created. And it's funny. It's not the word created. It's different. But this is where the woman was made. So we're going to, I don't have verses up on there, so if you hear me say a verse, just try and write it down. And I'll repeat it if you need me to. But it's Genesis chapter 2. And verse 18 is the first mention of the Ezer. Okay? And it says, and the Lord God said, see? And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him. So the word helper from the Hebrew word is the word Ezer, and it's the Strong's number H5828. And basically by itself, just the word by itself, is aid, help, or helper, or female helper. And so we see this word being used to describe Eve, who in Hebrew, her name is actually Hava, like with the C-H-I, you go, it's Hava. So her name isn't Eve, it's Hava. So if I say Eve or Hava, we're talking about Eve. So we see that word, Ezer, being used to describe Eve twice in Genesis. But this word actually occurs 21 times throughout the Bible, all of which refer to Yah himself, or the Ruach, the Holy Spirit. This word does not relate to the position that the woman holds. It neither makes her superior or subordinate to the man. It only speaks of her function or character of the roles he has given to her. So the first thing that I had learned a few years ago is that the word Ezer is not just used for the woman. It's only used for the woman, I think, in these 2 places. I might not be right about that, but I'm pretty sure it's only used in these 2 places for the woman. Everywhere else this word is used, God is describing himself. It's when he gives us a help, When I look to the hills to where my help comes from him, right? That word help there is the word Ezer. And when he's saying, I will be a strong tower, I'll be a help for you, it's the word Ezer. And the only other place the word Ezer is used for outside of Yah is for the woman. So the meaning of the word Ezer throughout Scripture gives us a greater understanding of the word as a whole. So in Genesis 18, I think I just covered that, we see, the first use when describing what Yah intends to make for the man. We then again see this word Ezer being used in Genesis 2, verse 20. Also referring to the woman, these are the only two places in Scriptures that I could see the word, and here's the second word, Kenegdo. It's the only two places where I could see the word Kenegdo follow the word Ezer. So there's only two places the woman is called the Ezer, and there's only two places where the word Kenegdo follows the Ezer. So I believe that word Kenegdo is specifically tied into the woman. So, and you see the word Kenegdo in other places in Scripture, in fact quite a few places, but only when it's speaking about the woman does it follow the word Ezer. So let's see. Other uses of the word Ezer are scattered throughout the Scriptures, and basically this is how it's defined: comforter, deliverer, savior, a help in battle, shield, and protection. Scripture says also in Psalms 146:5 that our help, our Ezer, is in the name of Yehovah. Our help, our Ezer, is in the name of Yehovah.
Amen.
So I'm just repeating myself here. Now, I don't necessarily believe that we are a deliverer, a savior. We can aid in that with our husband, with our children, even with our neighbors. We can aid in someone coming to the Lord. He's the one who saves. He's the one who delivers.
Amen.
I'm not really taking questions, but I'll go ahead, James. I'll take your question.
I was just curious, doesn't a woman deliver a baby?
Well, that's a different kind of deliverer, but sure, I guess so. I guess if you look at Esther, she was a sort of deliverer, but it's really him who delivers. So I want all glory and honor to go to him, because we are just his servants. So, Kenegdo, this word is really cool, and I think this word really gives us an understanding better even than the word Ezer. So Kenegdo is a corresponding word, okay? It's made of actually two words, the word kun, I think, and then neged. So if anybody wants to know where to locate these words, it's in the Strong's, H3559. Kun by itself, and I'm spelling it Kun, means firm, let's listen to this, firm, established, stable, secure, enduring, prepared, a fitting. And I heard one woman say, because it says a fitting to be fixed or to be set up. And there was another lady, and I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, but she had said she had likened it to a setting in a ring. The fitting, it holds the ring in place, and it's secure. So when you're fitting in your household, you're holding it, and it's making it secure. And now I do also want to say, everything I'm saying about the woman is in a spiritual sense. I am not usurping the men at all. We are not trying to be men. I would not want any woman to try and take on the role of a man. That is wrong, and I do not stand with feminism, and I'm just getting that out there right now. If you guys don't turn it off if you think I'm into feminism, because that is not what's going on here. This is completely different. Feminism robs you of what God created you to be. God created you to be so much more than that, but you're not the man. The man has his character and the DNA and the things that he put inside the man. You have in you in a different way, correlating, corresponding, you're parallel with him, right? You're a perfect counterpart to him. We're supposed to be, where did God take the woman from? It was from his side. The rib. I actually personally want to do a study on it. I think it was the marrow, but that's just my own personal belief. I don't think it says it anywhere. A friend of mine discovered that the rib is the word curve, and that, and I haven't done my own studies on it, but I think she's right on. She says that the curve can also be explained as DNA. And so I think, well, that's kind of interesting that God would open up and take, the DNA or whatever. But I actually think it was the marrow, because it's on your side. It has everything in it. All life it's in your marrow. So anyways, getting off on different things. Anyways, so the kun, it's to be fitting or fixed, okay? To set up, confirm, direct, faithfulness, provide, and ready. Neged by itself is the Strong's H5048. It's a front, like to be in front of, or part opposite of, a counterpart, a mate, over, against, or before, presence, or other side, parallel, often used when speaking about something that is like another thing. This word Kenegdo together, and that word neged can also, it also can mean oppose, and I'm going to get into that. And that's really important in the character that Yah put into a woman. Being the opposition, being to oppose is not negative, and we need to not look at it as a negative thing. So the word Kenegdo together as a whole and generally is understood to mean meet, like a helpmeet, a helper. Sufficient, fit, complementary, counterpart, to oppose, opposite of, to the same, of equal value, but different parts creating a whole. So just in that right there, just where God, and when he says, we will make him an Ezer Kenegdo, and you can read it in the Hebrew, it creates a picture of a woman that we haven't been taught before. When you combine the two words, it is both accounts in Genesis, you begin to see what God was truly providing for the man. You see that the woman is like the man but functions differently. Where the man lacks, the woman is equipped and strong. Yes?
What slide are you on?
Just this one for now.
Okay.
And then you'll go from here to 4. I think.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not showing all my slides because it's just this, just writing.
Okay, okay.
So,
I just want to make sure I wasn't supposed to be sliding
yeah,
yet.
no, I'll let you know.
Okay.
So, where the man is weak, the woman is supposed to be strong. And where the woman is weak, the man is supposed to be strong. We're supposed to be in the garden. We were partners. You know, that's how it was supposed to be. She's comparable to him. Being bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh. But she was given attributes to help and aid the man in a spiritual manner as well as physically. In fact, one of her main characteristics is to be a protector. Now this is where I was going to actually bring that in to say, I'm not talking about the way a man will protect a woman, because that's, like we said earlier, stripping his power, and that is not. Guys, men were made to be stronger. They are stronger physically than women are. I mean, maybe today with the steroids and things that women are taking, maybe not so much, but that's how we're originally built. A man is stronger. He's supposed to be the physical help to the woman. And we are a weaker vessel, but that doesn't mean weak as in we can't take care of ourselves or we can't take care of our household. It's weaker because the man is built, and I'll get into why. I don't want to give it away. I'm about to give it away, and I don't want to give it away. I'm going to get ahead of myself. So she's comparable to him as a protector, but not as the same as the man protects. She is called to spiritually guard and protect, even to intercede for her husband. The weapons of a woman's warfare are spiritual armor, and you find that in Ephesians 6:10-18. Spiritual armor, worship, prayer, fasting, obedience. This is our weapons of our warfare. This is how we go into battle for our household. This is how we go into battle for ourselves and for our husbands. I'll get ahead of myself. So we see through breaking down the words from the Hebrew that Hava was meant to be so much more than just to help somebody who takes the seed and bears children and that's it. But we have a lot more to offer. The woman was meant to be a comforter, a strong partner. The woman was called into a place of spiritual battle, to intercede on the man's behalf, to be firm and established in her relationship with Yah, to be secure and prepared for the battle ahead. And remember, all these words were in the word, Ezer and Kenegdo. She intercedes, she's firm, she's established in her relationship with Yah, secure and prepared for the battle ahead. She is direct and faithful in her partnership and ready to provide what is needed as a complementary counterpart for her husband. When looking at the Hebrew words from, and this is where it gets kind of interesting. Listen to this. Looking at the Hebrew words for male and female, we learn even more about the separate yet complementary roles we play individually. So the Hebrew word for male is the word zakar. This is a really cool word. And I just spelled it Z-A-C-A-R, zakar. And you can look this up if you have a Strong's Concordance, or if you have a Blue Letter Bible is one of my new favorite tools. I am in love with that thing. It is so helpful. It just took like 3 of my books that I always go to, and like now I can just put them on a shelf because I've got it on my phone. Blue Letter Bible, very, very cool. So the Hebrew word zakar actually means to remember or to mark. And this is the word for male, the man. So if you take the word in the Hebrew, it means to remember, to mark. The man is the one who is commanded by Yah, before anything else, to keep the commandments. The man was told not to eat from the tree in the garden, Genesis 2:17. He was required to mark or remember that which what he was told. And at that point, he was told to remember not to do this, okay? And it's in his DNA, it's in the word male. The Hebrew word for female is nekeba, or depending on how you pronounce the bet, some people would say nekeba, but I think it's ba in this case, which means to pierce or to make a hole by piercing. And that's why I use that, what do you call it, icon, graphic, whatever. And I'll show you later why. The Hebrew word, so piercing, tunnel, aqueduct, aperture. Also correlating word would be a setting or a circle or to surround. So the woman, we see the woman is very cyclical in nature. She's a circle, she surrounds. A lot of women in their household today will set the boundary. They set the boundaries for the household. You know what I mean? Don't go. We raise the children. Don't go past there. Don't go too far. No, you can go to this person's house, but no further. You know what I mean? So we're boundary setters. We circle in, we circle around. Okay. This I love, and I actually got this from another woman's teaching. She quoted, this guy wrote a book, Dr. Skip Moen, and I think the book is called Guardian Angel, and I haven't read it yet, but I hear it's really, really good, so it might be worth the read. From the quote that I got from this book, this guy is onto something, and it's really, really nice to see a man understand this. This is his quote from the Guardian Angel, Dr. Skip Moen. He says, she, the Ezer, is designed for a specific purpose of maintaining obedience between her man and Yah. She is his intercessor. She is to guard his relationship with the Creator, support him when he embraces Yah's direction, and oppose him when he does not. She is the helper opposite in the only arena where he needs additional attention, in spiritual awareness and in obedience. Without her, the man is at great risk and particularly vulnerable. That was his quote from his book, and I thought that was really amazing because of what I was finding. And when I first started researching this stuff, I'm like, what are you trying to say, Yah? What does this mean? A protector, firm, established. And I was praying, and I kept getting this image in my head, and I was able to actually get it on a graphic, and so we'll see it, not yet, but we will see it in a minute. So, I mean, and if you think about it, for the most part, women are more in tune spiritually. Now, my husband, through the years, he didn't used to be this way, but he's more in tune spiritually now than he used to be. And we've been married, over 20 years now. So, and I see that the strengths in him, I could see kind of coming out in me, and I see the strengths that I have kind of coming out in him. Like, I'm the one who normally senses, something doesn't feel right, something is off, or I just have this feeling about this, or I was in prayer and I feel like God was telling me this, and now I see my husband taking on some of those traits, and I think it's awesome because when you become one, you really do become one, especially through the years, Hopefully we take on the good stuff and the bad, right? So this is what I'm getting to. This is why. This is the great. I'm so excited to share this with you. I've never seen this before until just recently. Yeah, really it's just beautiful. This is because the woman is inward. We are inward. We are built inward by nature. Our whole physiology is built to be inward, just as the man is built to be outward. We even see this in how our bodies are made, how they're formed. When a man and a woman become one flesh, the woman was built to receive the man and his seed. She is inward. And we can see when a man and woman are intimate, you can see her body is built to be inward and his is built to be outward. And I think everybody understands what I'm talking about. Going any further. So, but we did get that, right? Okay.
I don't
So
get
the man
it.
is built to be the giver or the planter. Genesis 2 says, in the garden, man was given the role to watch over the earth and all that was in it. He was to till the ground and soil and plant seed. He was created to be a planter. Adam was created from the ground, from the dirt, from an outward place. From the outward place, God formed man, okay? Woman was built from an inward place. She was not formed or even created from the ground like Adam. She was built. It's different. By Yah, from the inside of the man being formed inwardly. She comes from his most inward place. The woman comes from the man. And this is why he says, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. Everything that Yah has created comes from the dust of the earth. Everything. And you can take it back to Genesis, again, 2:19. All creatures were formed from the earth. When he's creating everything, he says, these creatures come up from the earth, these creatures come up from the water. It's all from the dirt and from the ground, okay? And then he makes man, and he says, let us make man in our image, okay? God is multifaceted. So we won't go into that teaching, right? But he says, let us make man in our image. So he makes man and he separates him from everything else that he's already created, because this thing that he made, this man that he made, now is in his image and in his likeness. So man is separate. Man now has dominion over everything that was created, okay? Eve is something new. She's something different. She's in the likeness of her creator and in comparison to Adam, but she's from an inward place. Yah saw fit to create a perfect union between the man and the woman, for them to have separate roles and functions, neither negating the other. And we'll see that in the punishment, that if he had been this way with Eve before, then it wouldn't have been a punishment. We'll get into that. Neither negating the other, but both equally important in sustaining the well-being of the other. So here we have God looking and seeing that man doesn't have a good, which is kind of funny to me, and I think we laughed about it when we talked about it before. It's like, why was Adam looking out and God looking out for a comparable partner, like the beasts and the animals in the field? Like, you're not going to find that there. So I just thought I kind of giggled a little bit with God there. But so he puts Adam to sleep, and he says, I'm going to give him something comparable to him. I'm going to give him something really special. And I'm going to take it from inside of him. And he takes this portion outside of the man, and he goes and he forms it, and he creates you. He creates a woman. And she's not like anything that he's created. Everything else he did, he created it. He took the woman and he built her and made her comparable and gave her to the man and said this, and now he says, bone of my bone. So he looked at this, he saw you, and he says, I'm gonna make her like me. I'm gonna make her to where the man has the kind of help that I can give here in a physical relationship, because it's always first in the physical, then in the spiritual. And also with the man first in the physical, because man is outward, he's very physical. Woman is inward, she's very spiritual. So first in the physical, then he created woman in the spiritual, okay? And we are likened unto Yah, and there's nothing else created that is called in Ezer like him. So this is a very special thing. It's not something that we can walk around and hold over our husband's heads like, well, I'm like him, you know. It's not like that. It's if you're in Ezer, you wouldn't do that anyways. So the woman. Let's define the design, okay? Because it's beautiful, beautiful design. So the woman spiritually protects, circles around the man. Remember the word for female, nekabah, means to pierce or to create a hole, a circle. So she surrounds him spiritually. She's the one who goes into prayer. She's the one who puts on her armor, her helmet of salvation, and her breastplate, and her sword. And she goes into prayer, and she intercedes, and she gets on her knees, and she does spiritual battle, which sometimes is harder in some aspects than physical battle. But then again, physical battle is very bloody and ugly, and that's built. That's why the man was built the way he was built, okay? The man physically protects her. He physically circles around her as an image of our Creator. He is the physical image of our King. Our husbands are the physical image of our King. They're the ones who have the headship over us, okay? They're made in His image. They're the first created thing that was made in His image, while she is the spiritual image of our King. So when you look at your wife, you know, and you know that God put this amazing, beautiful thing that was inside of Him, and He put it into this beautiful, soft wife that you have, and yet she's firm and established and secure. And she's ready and prepared to go into battle for you. It's quite a beautiful union that He's actually made between the two. When the two become one, it becomes a complete image of our Creator. This is the earthly manifestation of how we are one with our Yah. We pray as it is in heaven, right? So it shall be on earth. So we're both called to be a guard. We guard and protect the other. Because of sin, they didn't walk in their roles. Now the man is to rule over her, and her desire will be for him. Also, both Adam and Eve, or Adam and Chava, will work harder and have pain in their roles or tasks that they've been given. And so, here's something that before I go into, I got so many weird notes here. I know this is going to look funny on camera, but I'm trying to stay focused. Okay, wait. So before we go into the punishment and how it's a punishment of mercy. Punishment they received in the garden, I've never looked at it like this, but it makes perfect sense. What an awesome Yahweh we serve. What an amazing Creator we serve to see all these things. And now, when you dig and you peel it back, you get to see it. It says it's the glory of Yah to hide,
To
conceal a matter within His word. But it's the glory of us, saints, kings, His people, to search it out and to find it. And it is glory to God. I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I've never seen this before. But before I get into that, this is the vision, or not the vision, just the graphic kind of that I saw in my head, because it says Eve, listen, if Eve had been obedient, okay, to her purpose, being the spiritual protector to Adam, she wouldn't have sinned. If her desire, and we're going to get into the word desire, we're going to get into that, but if her desire had been for her husband and had it shifted to what was being seducing to her, the thing that the enemy he came as a charmer, okay, a seducing serpent to charm her, her desire shifted. Had she been the spiritual guard over her husband, she wouldn't have sinned, and she wouldn't have given to Adam with her. Also, if Adam had been obedient to his purpose as the physical protector, that serpent would have never even gotten near Eve. He would have said, get away from her. Okay, and some balls. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do that again, though. Just kidding. And so neither one of them would have sinned. If he had walked up and said, get away from me, get away from my wife. You know what I mean? We might still be in the garden. Probably not. So let's go to the next graphic, and I'm just going to show you guys. And I hope you guys on Facebook can see the screen up here. Go to 4. I mean, you could just, you can't just scroll through. See how I did that little kind of, yeah.
Just 4?
Yeah, I thought you were going to keep it on the side where you can just click on 4.
Oh, well, I'd have to shorten it and then expose it
Okay.
again.
So that's not it.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, wait. You know what? You know what? Go ahead and go on to the next one. I meant for you to go to 4 when I was doing the Kenegdo. 4 was, this is Dr. Skip Mullen's thing. 4 was just a breakdown where you guys could see what the word kun and neged meant.
Where am I going?
So what's the next number on the slide?
12?
That's where you go. So we're going to go to 12.
Let me
And this is a graphic that I can't believe I figured this out by myself. Because I don't really work on MacBooks, but I drew it out on a piece of paper, and it's just to me so that you guys can get an understanding, and it was just kind of helpful to me. So here we have the women, okay, on the outside. I don't know if you guys can see this there, but Dave, if you want to, can you see the screen on the camera? Can you zoom in? So here we have the woman, and she's in pink, okay? And the arrows are going inward towards the man because the woman is a very inward creature. She was made to be inward. She's made to go in and protect in a spiritual form, okay? In a spiritual way. She guards over him. She protects his relationship with Yah. If you see your husband is down, you're going to go and you're going to pray for him. You're going to go to that inward place, the place where you find the Holy Spirit, okay? The place where you can talk to Yah because he made us like him. Okay, and you see the man, so the arrows are going inward. Over here on the other side, oh look, okay there, now I'm putting to it, that was weird. The woman is on the inside, and you see the man, you see now the blue circle around is on the outside, and the arrows are pointing out, because he is the outward image of Yah. We're the inward image, okay, here on earth. In an earthly physical manifestation, not like we are, okay, but, so the man is the outward, the physical protection for the woman. Now, if you go to the next slide, I know you're doing this all on your own back there, babe.
It's all right.
If you go to the next slide, if we are in a perfect functioning union, if we have a perfectly functioning union, we are guarded. We are completely guarded on all sides. It says that Yah is our front guard and our back guard, and he guards us all the way around, right? Well, we're the physical representation of this. So here's the man and the woman. And you see the arrows going in because she's interceding, she's going inward for him. And then the outward is the blue. And you see that he's physically watching over, he's physically protecting. So when you have the two that come together, where's the verse in Ecclesiastes that says, it is better to have two, but a threefold cord, or a threefold strand is not easily broken. And this is what this is. This is a perfect example of the physical and spiritual protection we were made to provide for each other. This is an image of how we are supposed to be together when we are functioning properly. When the man is walking in Yah, when the woman is walking in Yah, when the man is washing her in the Word, and when the woman is going to the Word and interceding on his behalf. And they're coming together. This is how it is meant to be. This is how it's meant to be from the garden, okay? So, this is where I see mercy, because at this point, I'm sorry, I'm distracted. At this point, we're going to go back to where, in the punishment, you see there's a lot of mercy in this punishment. So I'm going to start with Adam, and then I'll work my way into the woman. But it's amazing that through the punishment of what they did that was wrong, God had mercy, and God actually made them walk in the roles that they were intended to walk in the first place. So here's where I see the mercy. First, Yah told Adam that now, because you've fallen, because you didn't protect your wife, because you didn't walk in the role I gave you as a physical protector, you're the one who's supposed to rule all these things out here, and because you didn't do that, now he has to rule over Eve because of their sin. Now he is the head, okay? The word there, rule, when it says he's to rule over her, is the word mashal. And it's the Strong's H 4910. And it means to rule, have dominion, reign. It's a form of protection. Let's see. It's used 81 times in 74 different verses, this word is used. And in 2 Samuel 23:3, there's a bunch of them. I'm not going to go through all of that. It's used for both Yah and man, so it's not just specific to the man or to the woman, or to God. Adam was created to be the physical representation of Yah in the flesh. If Adam had acted according to how and who he was created to be, then Eve would not have sinned. If he had outwardly protected his bride and said no, then who knows? I do believe everything is for a reason. And I do believe that we were supposed to go through those things because we have to make a choice. We have to choose him. But because of sin now, he's to rule over her. And that was something that he had told, actually he told that to Eve. So, Eve on the other hand, Yah told Eve that now her desire would be for her husband. Ladies, this is really good, okay? Why her desire? Why would God say now, okay, first of all, they both got a punishment of pain in the labor that they had. So Adam worked and tilled the ground, and that's what he did, okay? And so now he has to toil, and he has to sweat, and there's thorns, and it's hard, and there's pain. And what she was given, what she was doing in the garden, Eve was bearing children, and who knows what else, making berries, I don't know, making berries, I don't know what she was doing in the garden. But the work, the labor, both of their labors were now going to be in pain. So she has pain in childbirth now. And that's part of her labor is to bear the children and to make the world plentiful, right? So now they're both given pain. But they're also given something else. Each one gets something else. He now rules over her, okay? He's now her guard, physically. He's the one who's going to who takes account for his household to God and to man, okay? And he's the physical protection of her now. That sounds like something that was already supposed to be created in him, right? Here's Eve, her desire. Why is her desire? I mean, here's a better question. Why did the serpent choose Eve? Why did he try and deceive Eve? Right? Why did he go through the man? I think it's because the enemy understood the woman's purpose. Remember that the serpent is cunning, okay? She was the spiritual protector. If he could get to her, if he could get through that spiritual guard, they might use their eyes to see, like it says, and see that this is pleasant to their eyes, to the flesh, right? Our eyes are very physical. Our sight is physical. It's what I see before me right now. I see this piece of paper. I see you guys sitting out there. But vision is spiritual, right? So he was seducing her eyes, not her. She had no vision. She lost her vision in that moment because her desire then shifted from her husband to, oh, this sounds really good and this is pleasing. And he was standing right there, people. It said she took and gave to her husband who was with her. So he was there. But she was the one he seduced. She was the one, because also, as women, and I'm sure if you want something from your husband, there's a way, you can charm him a little bit, and oh, honey, and that's just kind of how we're made, and I think that's how we're supposed to be.
Yeah, you're pretty good at that.
So yeah, he knew that if he could convince Eve could probably convince Adam. He was not stupid. I mean, stupid, but intelligently made. She was the Ezer. He came to charm her, to get her to what? Desire the fruit that was forbidden, to desire what was forbidden, instead of to guard her husband. She was won over by this desire, and it was the wrong desire. So now, because of her sin, she's commanded to walk out the role she was originally given. God told her, now your desire will be for your husband. Well, wait a minute. I'm already supposed to have desire for my husband. But he's saying now you're going to desire your husband. You will walk out the role that I gave you originally. And he says to the man, now you're going to be the head over her. You're accountable for her. You're accountable for her, for your children. You are the one who is the head of the family. You're the physical representation of me. So now that's your punishment. That's what you're going to be. You have to walk in this role. If you want to have the perfect union between you and your wife now, you have to walk in the roles that I created you to walk in. She has to have the desire for you, the right desire, the desire to see you grow and to flourish and become the man that I created you to be. That's what the punishment was. I think that's merciful. I mean, we could have been just wiped off. We could have just been wiped out. And I just read in Deuteronomy 6, or was it 3? I think it's 6. And it says, when you're in the land and he's giving you all these good things, he says, don't forget me. He says, don't forget to keep my commandments. Don't forget to do this and do this unless I wipe you off the face of the earth, it says. And I'm like, well, he can do that. He's God. So they're lucky. He could have just started over. It's a merciful punishment. It's punishment and mercy. Her punishment is fitting of the character he put within her. She's to walk out the traits that he gave her as an Ezer. And I said all this. She's supposed to go to spiritual battle for her household, to be strong, firm, and ready. Ready. That word ready isn't just like, okay, I'm ready, let's go. It's a readiness that you have. Before I got up here, I was nervous. I was like, okay, I'm ready, It's a readiness. It's a steadfastness, right? And in Psalm 51:10, it states, renew a steadfast spirit within me. Renew a steady, ready spirit within me. I want to be ready. I want to be steadfast. I want to be firm. I want to be established. I want to be secure. We're supposed to be ready as women, also as men. Steadfast. And I think if you look this up, I think this is just let's see, it says resolutely or dutifully firm and unwavering. In simpler terms, steadfast means to be loyal, faithful, committed, devoted, dedicated, dependable, reliable, true, constant, solid, single-minded, determined, uncompromising. Uncompromising. And David prayed this. David prayed this. God, make me steady and ready and steadfast. Excuse me. As women, we are not called to be subjugated by our husbands. And subjugated, what I mean by that is conquered. You look up the word subjugated, it's conquered and vanquished, defeated, or crushed, or squashed. Someone who's being brought down to their knees. Okay? Enslaved, subdued, suppressed. When our husband is walking in line with Yah, he liberates us. He doesn't put his thumb down on us. He doesn't tell us, you're just a woman. You're just this, you're just that. That's not what God says about you. You're not just anything. You're created in his image as well, but you're created to be a help. You're created to be something that's in line with him, that's lined up with him. He liberates you when he's walking in Yah. If he has eyes to see your value, it says value, and utilizes it by making us a strong partner, okay? And the man is way better off if he uses what God put in you, and he makes you a strong partner. A wise man will see how loving his wife, and where he's called to love us. Love is so much in that word love. There's so much, and everything that he put into the man to give to his wife love is included in that. But if he's loving his wife the way Yeshua, Yehovah loves the congregation, he is setting himself up strategically as a weapon for spiritual warfare. We are a valuable counterpart for our men and our husbands. He is setting himself up strategically. If he utilizes the thing that Yah put inside of you, if he recognizes the beauty, if he recognizes the partnership that he is not going to find in another man, if he utilizes that, he's ahead of the game, and he's strategizing life, and he's able to combat things that other men. Why did I get that job? He's got his wife interceding for him. Okay. Why? I don't know if I should say this.
Say it.
Why is this person healed? Because when you have a perfect union and you're walking together in God and you've asked God to forgive you of all your sins and you've asked God to wipe yourselves, just waste us on you. Just whatever's in my heart, just search my heart, get rid of it. I want to be that Ezer Kenegdo for my husband. I want him to be the Adam. I want him to be the man he created. We need to have this partnership. And I'm telling you, single women out there who are not yet married, or your husbands are passed away, you have children, whatever it is, you can still be that Ezer. You don't have to be married to be the Ezer. It's an image of Yah that you're supposed to, what are we? A city on a hill, a fortified city. We're supposed to shine. We're supposed to be that light. No matter whether you're married or not. In a marriage, it's a strong, a valuable tool you can use It says, who can find? Okay, I'm not going to go there because that's the end of it. I don't want to get ahead of myself, right? But there's other parts of the word that support this. Because the word has to back up the word. Precept upon precept. It has to go together. Okay. What we don't understand today is what Yah built us to be. We don't understand our value. We don't understand what it is we're supposed to be for our husbands, for our children, for our people in our workplace, for our neighbors. We're supposed to love our neighbors as ourselves. Okay? We've been extremely devalued by mistranslations and misinterpretations of the word, and especially Paul. And I'm not even going to go there. People should know, that was for specific people. He wasn't speaking to all women, obviously, or he wouldn't have sent Esther in. God wouldn't have sent Esther in to go before the king. He didn't send a man in before the king. He sent Esther. Okay? We wouldn't have had women disciples if women were just not supposed to speak at all. Okay? It's just not, it's a misunderstanding. Paul is so misunderstood. We don't throw Paul's writings out. We try and understand Paul. And even Peter said, I can't even understand Paul sometimes. It's hard. So, and this is where I talked about it. This has nothing to do with feminism that serves the flesh and does not serve the spirit. Today's modern feminism is just, it's so twisted and wrong, and it's straight from the pits of hell. It's straight from the enemy, and it's confusing so many women. Telling women it's okay, it's your body, you can kill your own unborn child. It's pure evil. It's pure evil.
Most of them hate men anyway.
Right, and they don't want consequences to their sins or their actions, right? So, but if we only go by what the Word of Yah says about us, then we should never need validation from any other source. Okay? We only need validation from the Word, from our God, and from our husbands. If they're walking in Yah the way they should be, we should be validated by our husbands in private, we don't understand where Yah intended us to be. So let's go somewhere else. Let's draw some understanding from somewhere else in the Bible, because we see the word Ezer, we see Kenegdo, we see in Nekeba that, what that means. So I was thinking, what other place can we go? And I want to confirm this, and without going into years of studying out the whole entire word on this one subject, God, where should I go? And what's the one, you guys can probably say, what's the one place, if you want to understand how a woman should be, who a woman should reflect, and how a woman walks in out, where do you go?
Proverbs 31.
Proverbs 31, who doesn't know that, right? So I was like, okay, let's go break down Proverbs 31. Let's break it down in Hebrew, right? Because we can do that. And I used that blue letter Bible app. That was really, really cool and helpful for me. So one of the most popular places to go is Proverbs 31, but this has to have been overlooked. I just can't believe what I found. This is just the most, it's gonna blow your mind. Just listen to this. Okay. And this is where the Bible confirms itself. Proverbs 31:10 says, who can find a virtuous wife? Who can find a virtuous wife? So the word virtuous there, in the Hebrew, it's the word Hayil, with the CH, the sound, Hayil. It's the Strong's number H2342. Hayil, are you ready for this? A force, an army. It's also likened to wealth, virtue, valor, okay? Strength, war. Say what? Wait a minute. Was this talking about the woman? A virtuous wife? War? Also, it's referred to as riches, wealth, and power. The word Hayil is not only used to describe the woman, but actually more often used to describe the attributes that I'm going to list here. Listen to this. Hayil, it's used 200, and this is from the blue letter. I could give that thing kudos, because I'm just like, Hayil is used 243 times in the word in 228 different verses. For the word army, it's used 56 times. Man of valor, 37 times. Host, 29. Forces, 14. Valiant, it's used 13 times. Might, it's used 6 times. Strength, it's used 12 times. Riches, 11. Wealth, 10. Power, it's used 9 times in the Bible for the word power, is this word Hayil. Substance, it's used 8 times. And strong, it's used 5 times in the Bible. This word describes Hayil, okay? Miscellaneous, I think it's 33 times it's used in miscellaneous verses. And I went to some of these verses. I didn't go to all 243. I was like, yeah, well, I won't be doing this message for a few months. Or a month, whatever. Anyways, Hayil is used almost exclusively in verses concerning and displaying power and warfare. Hayil. And in Proverbs 31, it's translated as virtuous. Okay? In fact, there's 5 verses where if you go back to the Hebrew and it says the word Hayil, it's translated and it's used for the woman 5 times, and it's translated as virtuous. Proverbs 12, a Hayil woman, a crown to her husband. Proverbs 31:10, who can find a Hayil woman? The word is translated there, virtuous. But Hayil, this is a word that's an army, a force, valor, strength, power. But it's translated as virtuous.
Wow.
Proverbs 31, who can find a Hayil woman? Proverbs 31:29, many daughters have done virtuously. And the word there is Hayil. The virtuous it's the root word, Hayil. But you excel them all. I want you guys to hang on to that. That one, hold on to this verse, because we're going to go over that. I need to note that on the side here. Because that goes into something that we all are, but I won't go into that yet. Ruth 3:11, it's used Hayil, but translated as virtuous. Remember, every other verse, every 243 times. And only 5 of those times it's translated virtuous, and only 5 of those times it's talking about the woman, specifically and only the woman. But in every other time it's translated as valiant, power, strength, mighty, warrior. Okay? Ruth 3:11, and now, my daughter, fear not. This is God talking to Ruth here. Fear not, I will do to thee all that you request. For all the city of my people know that you are a virtuous woman. You are a Hayil woman. Ruth was a Hayil woman. She was a valiant, she was a woman of strength and inner power. Okay? She told her mother-in-law, Naomi, she could have gone back to her people. She lost everything. And yet she says, I won't leave you. I won't leave you. I'm going with you. Well, your people are now my people. I'm getting chills. Like, your people are now my people. This woman lost everything. Her husband, Naomi lost her sons, and she's going back to her people. Ruth could have just went and started over, but she didn't. She stayed with her mother-in-law. And that took valor. That took a woman of valor, a woman who's faithful, okay? Who's steady and ready and prepared and willing. God called her a woman of valor, okay? Ruth 4:11, this is great. I love this. And all the people that were in the gates and the elders said, we are witnesses. The elders, all the people gathered around, we are witnesses that Yahovah, make the woman that has come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two built the house of Israel. Those two, make this woman Ruth like Rachel and like Leah, because they were Hayil women. They were the Ezer Kenegdo, right? They did what they were called. They walked in the calling that they were supposed to. They were Hayil. I mean, look, you find the love of your life and you get married to him and you find out you got to take your sister with you. That's got to take a Hayil woman right there. You've got to be strong. You've got to be secure. Okay, and that's I'm just saying right now. I think my sister would just get lost somewhere out there along the way. I don't know if I could walk in that. That's really hard. But God used both of them to build the house of Israel. Okay, it says it right here. So the elders are saying in the gates, make her like Rachel, make her like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel, and do worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem, the house of bread, Bethlehem. They're telling her to be famous and do worthily. That's the word Hayil. That's the Hayil. Be a warrior in Bethlehem. Okay? Be a strong power. Be a force. be an army for us spiritually. You're going to go into battle for us. They knew. Instead of trying, this is what is important, and this is the whole thing I'm trying to get to right here. It's the relationship between the man and the woman, but also men. Oh. The people, instead of trying to subjugate or subdue this new woman, they blessed her, speaking over her strength and power and valor. They wanted Ruth to be Hayil. She already was, but they were speaking that into her. This is what we're supposed to do for women. We're not supposed to subdue them and suppress the things that God put in them. That's not what we're called to do.
Amen.
Do you bless your daughters that way?
Amen.
Or do we tell, like I've seen, and I'm just going to give an example, I've seen in different forums where, I cried. I actually prayed for these girls because they said, oh, well, our daughters will never go to college. They don't need to go and be in the system of man. They'll never go to school. They'll never learn this or learn that. They'll go from my house, the father's house, to their husband's house. And I'm not trying to degrade any sort of, trying to keep your daughters clean or pure, because my daughters are both pure. My one daughter was pure until marriage. But she did schooling at home. We did schooling online. She's going to go start schooling out in the world in a college. And she is a Hayil, okay? She is an Ezer Kenegdo. My younger daughter, she blows my mind. She was reading in Genesis last night, and she was reading about, it's funny because she's like, she's reading we started over. She needed to start over. And so she was kind of behind on her Bible reading, so she should have already read this. She's like, Mom, I'm in a couple days behind, so I'm going to catch up at Sabbath. So she's reading, and I look at her, and she's starting to cry. And she says, well, this is really hard. And I said, what? What are you reading? She says, well, when they fell in the garden. She's like, you can just feel it. There's like you're broken. Like that connection you have with God is just severed. Like, and she's in tears. And I'm like, she's 16. We're not supposed to subdue our daughters. We're not supposed to tell them, you don't get to learn this or you don't get to learn that. Because how are they supposed to teach their own children? Amen. That's not what men have been given to do over women. Being the head over the household, you're supposed to liberate your women. You're supposed to lift them up. You're supposed to wash them in the Word so that they can walk in the calling that God has given them. Amen. So that they can intercede for you. So that they can go to battle for you. So that they can be strong and firm and established. So that they can surround and hold down the fort when you're gone.
Amen.
How are they supposed to hold down the household? They are parallel to you. And they're supposed to do all of this in what? When you're pushing them down and you're covering them up, and the way they treat women in other countries, they cover them up from, look, I believe a woman should be clothed in righteousness. She needs to be a woman, a daughter. Keep your lines up and keep your stuff inside, and don't walk close to God. Okay, be a woman, a modest woman who represents her king and the thing that He put inside of her. But what they're doing to women, especially now, because, 50, 40, 30 years ago, even in Iraq, they look like us right now. They weren't doing that to their women. This is all prophetic, what's happening right now. Them wearing those burqas and being covered. That's all prophetic. They did not look like that 30 years ago. When Ruth came into the picture, the people said, let her be Hayil, let her be a strong woman, let her go to battle spiritually first, because they knew it was going to benefit them, having that kind of woman in their household. Oh, I wrote this last night. I thought I had more. I was like, what's going on here? Wow, we're already at this part? Good grief. I thought there was more. This is good. You're called to be a woman of valor. You're called to be strong. You're not called to be subdued and to be pressed down and to be less than. If your husband is a good husband and he's walking in Yah, he's going to take your hand and he's going to say, let's do this together. Here's another
Amen.
thing, women, if you are walking in Yah, understand this, if you are an Ezer, Kenegdo, if you are a woman of valor, you understand that your husband is now accountable for you. Because of the garden, because of sin, he is now accountable for his household. So you better do everything you can not to bring shame onto him. Okay? You need to protect his
Relationship.
well, that he would protect his relationship, but protect
Reputation.
his reputation. Thank you. Don't go out doing things you know you're not supposed to be doing. Don't go out dressed in a certain way. Don't go out there saying things behind people's back, gossiping. You're called to be a woman like this. Many daughters have done virtuously. The virtuous there is Hayil. Many daughters have been strong and powerful. Many daughters have done this, but you exceed them all. You exceed them all. This is not my words, and I know maybe you might think I'm biased because I'm a woman. Am I good on time? Paul?
Huh?
Am I good on time?
Yeah, there's no time
I
limit.
saw you looking down, I want to make sure.
No, there's no time limit.
These are not my words. I'm not being biased. I actually really went into this because me and my husband were doing a certain thing together, and we wanted to get closer to the Lord, and you know, you make vows to each other, and I just wanted to know what God said about me. I wanted to know what God said about my daughters, and I wanted to know how I, being the pastor's wife, can help the women in my congregation. God, what is it that we're really called to be? Help me to walk in that role. I see all these things about, oh, a woman should cover her head, or a woman should sit down and be quiet, or a woman should do this and that. And I was even told by men online I needed to be quiet. And I thought, you know, that's fine. I'm going to go inward. I'm going to go to my God, and I'm going to see what my God says about me. This is what he says about you. These aren't my words. These are his words. I'm not being biased. And I wrote this for you ladies, all you ladies listening, and for the men too, because, you know, appreciate what God put in your wife or your daughter, because you're set up. He's setting you up. He's fixing you in a place of victory if you really utilize what God did in the woman. This is what I wrote last night for you ladies. This is what our Creator says about a woman without bias. These are his words. This is how he built the woman. Okay? Woman, listen. You are an Ezer, likened unto your Creator. You were built by Yah from an inward place. You are unique to every other created thing. For everything that was created, it all comes from an outward place. Everything that was created comes from an outward place, from the earth. But you, woman, you were taken from within the man, from his most inward place. He withdrew a portion and designed an image of beauty, something so different and peculiar to all the other things he made. He fashioned a soft and lovely image of himself. From a place of love and strength, he made you. He knew that man would need help. How could he do it all on his own? He knew two were stronger, and a threefold cord is not easily broken. That's Ecclesiastes. He would be the help we need, but you were likened unto him to be a help similar only to him. Only to him. He made you an aid and a help to those who are in need spiritually. When your husband and your children are in need, they turn to you. You are a comforter who brings wisdom and direction and love. You are a Kenegdo. You are built to be firm and established. You are stable and not wavering, but secure. You are enduring. You are prepared. You endure the pain that love costs you. And you are prepared and ready to protect and defend it at all costs. Your weapons are found on your knees and on your face, interceding at the feet of our King for the man you love and the man you are knit to. You are a perfect fitting. You are fixed and set up for success and victory. You were made to confirm the word You were made to confirm the word and be a witness to the truth, to be a good steward to the word and defend the faith. Because you were made to be faithful and provide a direct spiritual protection. You are a valuable and needed strategic defense for your husband and family and even your neighbors.
Amen.
Amen.
A worthy counterpart built to guard your husband's heart from the enemy, built to guard his relationship with the Creator, and to oppose him when he gets off course.
Amen.
Because you're to guide him back. You set that boundary and say, no, honey, come this way. No. You oppose him if he gets off course. You are a Hayil woman meant to do battle for her home in the spirit. You go inward, adorning your armor, prepared for the duel, a crusader of faith. You carry on. You are an Ezer Kenegdo, a Hayil woman, a nekebah, to pierce through the darkness through prayer and fasting and worship and obedience to Yah. Your battlefield is inward. Vanessa, your battlefield is inward. You are a Hayil woman.
Where can I get one?
You didn't have to say that. I'm not dead. I'm not dead. Oh my God. But your battlefield is inward. You were made to go to war against spiritual darkness. You were made for this. You were made to go to war against spiritual darkness, and you will be victorious in all things because you were made beautifully and wonderfully in the image of our Yah and for His pleasure, because you are important and valued and loved by your King. That's who you are. And that's who you need to be. And don't let anybody tell you different. And men, let me tell you something about Proverbs 31. When it says, who can find a Hayil woman? This woman, it's layers that we go through the Bible, right? It's just layers we peel back. It's not just for us women. It's actually for all of us as the bride. We all need to be this Hayil here on earth, like we said, is sitting on a hill, right? We need to give a good defense for the word, always. That's what we're called to do. I'm just going to throw this in, and I meant to look up the guy's name, but it's, I think 12 and 13 are the last two slides. Don't go ahead, yeah, no, go down. It's the last two.
Oh, the last two.
Yeah, so you guys, so go to, 18. Okay, this is so cool. I've been showing this to people for years. And I saw some Jewish guy who was teaching it, and I didn't watch the whole teaching, I just saw this part, and it's probably backwards on Facebook Live, I apologize, just kind of turned around in your mind. This is really cool. I love this so much. This is just good, okay? This is just bonus. So you have the man, and you know that Hebrew reads from right to left. So you have the Aleph, Yod, Shin, and that makes the word
Ish.
Ish, right? I was hoping maybe somebody, okay, we gotta get back to teaching Hebrew, right? So you have Aleph, Yod, Shin, which makes the word Ish, and then you have woman, which is Aleph, Shin, Hey, which is Isha, okay? That's the word for woman. So you see the only difference between man and woman is the man brings the Yod and the woman brings the Hey in red. You see the red Yod? And then you see the red Hey. I meant to grab that little laser pointer, and I didn't get to. But now here's what's cool. A man and a woman, when you come together and you have Yah in the center, my son-in-law put the title up there. He wanted it to be called Yah in the center. Dylan, shout out to Dylan. If you have Yah in the center of your marriage, and you can see when the man and woman come together, you have Yod, Hey. That is Yah. Okay, that's the word Yah. That's the first letters of His name, Yah. And we say Yah all the time. Hallelujah. Praise be to the one and only true God, right? So when the man and the woman come together in a godly relationship, functioning properly the way they should, then you have Yah in the center. But if you take the Yod and the Hey out, if you take those two red letters out, you see in both the man and the woman, you're left with Aleph and Shin. In both cases, Aleph and Shin. That's the word Ish, or Esh. It's the word Esh. So if you take God out of the center of your marriage, Or if you're in a relationship where you're not supposed to be and you're coming to be one flesh, and God is not the center of it, and you take Yah out, you have the next slide. This is what Esh means. Fire. That is the Hebrew word for fire. So if you take God, if you take the Yod and the Hey out from the man and the woman, in both the man and the woman, you're left with fire. Fire. Punishment and judgment comes when we remove Yah from the center of our marriage. Also, when we become one with someone we're not married to. So,
Amen.
Yeah, I just thought I didn't come up with that myself. I wish I would have, but it's really cool, and I've been showing it to people for years, and so I wanted it to be on this teaching. But I just wanted to encourage the daughters of Yah. These are his words; they're not mine. You have so much to offer, and just be the Ezer Kenegdo that you were created to be. Be the Hayil, the nekeba, the female. The word for female is nekeba. Pierce through. You are more than what society teaches. You are more than what the billboards show what a woman is, okay? That's not what you're meant for. You're meant to just come together between you and your husband. It's supposed to be beautiful. And all this stuff in society takes a woman and tears her down, because if the enemy can get to the woman, just the same, nothing new under the sun. If the enemy can get to the woman, then the man doesn't have his spiritual guard and he's left vulnerable.
Amen.
He needs you.
Amen.
Walk in it. Be an Ezer Kenegdo, be a Hayil woman.